Hey everybody, it is Lauren deLisa Coleman with a special edition of the Inside series during Sundance Film Festival. And this next interview I cannot wait to get into for a bunch of different reasons. But I want to be able to welcome both Duran Jones, who is the producer, and Victor Gabriel, who is the director of a traumedy, and we got to get into that definition, of this film called Hallelujah. You guys, welcome to the show. I'm just so excited to be able to interview you. I think you're like actually one of my first interviews that's actually in the States. I've been like everywhere, Cuba, Brazil, Paris, etc.
Wow.
It's like, oh, wait a second, Compton? Let's do that.
Hey,
For sure.
Hey.
So you guys, tell our viewers first a little bit about what the story is of Hallelujah.
For sure. Well, Hallelujah is a story about two brothers who, through inexplicable means, are like forced to be a caretaker of their nephew, who's weird and eccentric and odd in the city of Compton, as well as their niece. And really the story is just about how these two brothers who are sort of like, I don't want to do this. Like, they kind of want to be young men, and how they sort of like arc into like men and taking responsibility for something bigger than themselves, which is taking on guardianship and nurturing these two kids who are their niece and nephews, but no longer have parents.
When I was looking at this, I thought, okay, wow, how breakthrough that we are seeing Black men taking care of a child. Why is that breakthrough? You know what I mean? So
I dig it.
That you two could come together to bring this to light. Because, so many of these stories, and that's why they are, selected for Sundance, you see them and you're like, wait a second. Yeah, why haven't I seen that perspective before? And why is it taking so long to have it get to here? Because we know these stories, right? We know there's people in Compton taking care of kids or whatever who might not be their own or related in some kind of way, but you don't actually see it. So for you guys to bring it, to a film is just, really hot concept. Tell me how the two of you, first of all, kind of got together in terms of, being this creative duo.
Yeah.
Well, we both went to AFI. Victor is a year ahead of me in the screenwriting discipline. I'm the year under, of course, in the producing discipline. And, we, as Black students, it's very few of us on campus. I think out of his year, there was 9 Black students, and out of mine, there was 10. So collectively, it's
many.
Out of probably close to 240 students or something like that. So we stick together. We have a very tight network, and, we have a lot of common sensibilities. And one of the things we do is we always get together. So he sent out the feature script, the Incredible Heights of Hallelujah Jones, and was looking for notes and feedback. And I read it and I'm like, oh no, you don't need no notes or feedback. Like, we need to make this, you know what I mean? And I reached out to him directly. I was like, look, I don't have no notes for you, but what you're doing with this? Like, how can I help? Like, can we work on this together? And, in true Vic fashion, he was like, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so now I gotta put my money where my mouth is. Like, how we gonna make this work? So we took it around, and we found a collaborator who was very interested in helping us get the project made. And once that happened, we decided to make a short. And the rest is kind of history. But this is our first project together.
Your first project ever, your first project together. So not bad, right? To be able to be at Sundance Film Festival. We were talking a little bit offline, and this is not really exposing him because you can see this. And I actually love this because this wasn't done before with Sundance, where, there's kind of like the little introduction. It kind of reminds me of like, when you're watching like Super Bowl or whatever, and then they have each of the players like tell you a little bit about themselves.
Right.
It's now, you guys, for the filmmakers. Right. And so I happened to, catch Victor's, and he's, talking about his film and sounding very creative and stuff. And then I just love how he keeps it very real. Like, check it out if you can. And he just gets to a certain point. He's like, honestly, I'm just going to let you know, I didn't even know what Sundance Film Festival was before. Just so honest and so great. So I a couple things about that. I mean, why did you feel it was important to share that? One, and two, what do you think about it now that you understand how it fits into the the universe of the industry and
Right.
how important it kind of is.
For sure. It was a slight exaggeration because I knew about it before the film, but like a year or two ago, I didn't know what Sundance was at all. Like a year or two ago, like it's like I didn't really know. Like I knew about it, and so I know that because we went to AFI, so half of my friends are filmmakers. They know everything about Sundance. Like this is the thing, right? It's a huge deal to them. Like me getting to Sundance, my filmmaker friends are like in shock. Like what? You know what I'm saying? But my homies, they don't know what a Sundance is. What's that? You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know what that is. So like my other friends are like, yeah, I think I heard of it. And that's like me. When I first came to AFI and started doing film, I was so ignorant about things. And I didn't even know the significance of what Sundance was until, like I said, like a year and a half ago. And then I was like, oh, this is like a big thing for a filmmaker. And that was like a while ago. I was like, oh, we trying to get in this thing. So it was me just expressing that piece of me that is still very, like, has a naivete to it. I'm a bit naive in some things, but also like, I want to keep my sense of wonder, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest with you, Lauren, like just even us talking, this isn't like something that people get to do, you know what I'm saying? Like you're talking to me about a short film in Sundance. That's amazing, you feel me? And I think sometimes filmmakers, or we as filmmakers, we get caught up in the grandeur of it. We get caught up in the like, it's supposed to be like this and I deserve this. And yeah, I do deserve, but I also feel like what's deserved? You know what I'm saying? Like what's deserved? Like I know people on the street, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to feed their family, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I don't know what deserve is when it comes to that. And so for me, when I weigh Sundance and film against like the work I've done in the community with kids and families, and like I facilitate a Black male trauma group, and I weigh that against the stuff that people are just trying to get the next meal, or trying to make sure the kid go to school, or try to make sure like this kid stay off the streets. Like this is just, all I have is gratitude. You know what I'm saying? This is just like God showing blessings. All I can do is show up with like immense gratitude and humility, and also like I make dope shit. So I mean, there's that. So pardon my language. So it's just.
Oh my gosh, I can just only imagine like hanging out with you guys and having a drink. I know it's just like mad laughs, like
100%
back to back.
Pull up, Lauren. Pull up. We can hang out.
In LA,
hang out with the whole cast
here, but
oh, never mind.
So tell me, I mean, you guys told me how you met and everything, but how did you kind of get caught up in just all things film? Like what made you decide to go to AFI and really start to take this as something that was, serious and a career or profession?
I mean, I think this is another similarity that he and I both have. Like we both were hip hop artists. We both rapped before getting into film. And
okay.
For me, I kind of stumbled into film. I was writing and directing my own music videos and finding financing, and then ended up making a short film for like one of my last music videos. And that took me to festivals. And I think it was kind of the same for Vic, but I tell people all the time, jokingly, like rappers make the best screenwriters and the best directors, in my opinion. Because I mean, every verse, every song is just
anyway, right? With the song,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
Lyrics. You are telling a story because I was talking to somebody else, another film. Well, he's a lead in this short that a senior executive at HBO produced. Anyway, and so she was just remarking about how amazing he is as an actor, and I said, well, somebody who my viewers know, I used to have a branding company and I worked in the music industry and did a bunch of projects, everybody from Ice Cube on up and on down. Anyway, and I said, it always used to make me laugh when, people who were official would say, oh, Method Man is such a good actor or this or that. And you're kind of like, they're already doing this, one, through their craft, but two, a lot of times as people of color, we're dipping in and out of different personalities and scenarios anyway, right? So I can be like this with you now, and I could be just as ghetto and hip hop later on if I wanted to be, right? That is just part of, just reality in America, right? So a lot of times if you reach into that, you are able to tell like really good stories if you're given the opportunity. And that's what I think is important.
Exactly.
So you guys
100%.
both came from the hip hop world, which I kind of felt like maybe, but I was like, no, maybe it's not for real. So is
Yeah,
it going to be both, or now are we just going to totally divorce like the hip hop side of things and just really
right.
focus on film? What's going to be the story now?
I just actually we asked this question before. I have like a little hip hop group with two of my little homies who are actually like into film, like as voiceovers and like little side characters, very small parts. Blanco and Spicer, and we have like a group called Black Children, and we'll probably do something. Well, probably we will like be put out some sort of project. It's just that film is what I'm focusing on. But once I find some time to do some more music, and I feel free to like just do it just to do it. Whereas before when I was rapping, it was like, I'm doing music because I gotta do this and I gotta do this and I gotta do this. And now I don't feel that weight. I can just like do whatever and like, because it's not something I'm looking for it to be this huge, big financial thing. I mean, hopefully it'd be great, but more like just want to keep expressing myself through art. You know what I'm saying? But writing and directing is where where my it's almost like my full skill set comes to play. You know, it felt like rapping and hip hop was like another class to get to here. If that makes sense. Okay. It's so weird, like for me to get to writing and directing, because when I came to AFI, I didn't have any Hollywood experience, and everybody at AFI and Duran knows this. At AFI is a lot of white kids who families in Hollywood, and God bless them. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that's wrong. That's life. Like your family, if their families in Hollywood or connections, you should try to do these things. But I didn't have that. I was commuting from Compton to Hollywood, and just really didn't know a lot.
But wait, I love how you say it, commuting from Compton to Hollywood, like it's crazy far. It's not, when I lived in LA.
LA traffic.
I lived in LA for a year, and it was like, just, I don't know, make me so surprised where people who lived in that part of town would be like, well, I don't go around like, La Brea that much. And you're like, it's not
right there. Yeah.
That's a fact, though.
Wait, up on Melrose Avenue? Oh, no, I don't go around there. And you're like,
like what?
So
that's a fact. Hey, you must really live in LA.
I wish we had Google Maps right now, because I'd be like, okay, what is the distance from Compton, where you are, to AFI's address, commuting? But okay, you guys, we're going to give him that commuting.
Listen, Lauren, let me tell you.
You're in Compton too, or only Victor?
Yeah, well, he's from Compton. I grew up in Maryland, but I moved out here.
Okay.
I'm like 20 minutes away from Compton, and now like 30 something minutes away from Hollywood. But with that traffic, it's like an hour and a half.
It can be
depending on the day.
Certain times.
But
still, it's more in the mind. It's like
exactly.
New York, where we're like, New Jersey. We can't go to New Jersey. You know what I mean? You could just take a train and be there quicker than you can be like maybe downtown. So it's more psychological, I think.
Yeah, I think to your earlier question in terms of, just hip hop in general, I don't think that's a part that can leave either one of us. Even how we got into Sundance, the feature was in the Sundance lab, and who Victor and I are, is just a part of us. I mean, we joke all the time, like, as soon as we show up in a room, the performance or the performers in us like take over, and they have a tendency to captivate people.
I feel the energy here.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? I want to switch now to, kind of like just a bigger scope a little bit. Obviously, everything is changing, continues to change. What do you think is going to be the near-term future of like, quote unquote, Black film, or just filmmakers of color, in the United States? I remember at the moments where I was working directly in the industry was at the same time when we had, so many iconic films, Dead Presidents, et cetera, it had to have the soundtrack with it. It was a, big deal. There was this moment in time for those types of films. And then it kind of went away, and then we didn't have any type of genre. And then it's like kind of come back now in a different way where it's very splashy and maybe Black Panther-esque and whatever. What do you think is going to be really the next thing, especially from a newer, younger filmmaker's point of view? Whether it's genre, opportunities, expansion.
Speaking for myself, I would say the next wave of that, because like you said, we've had this kind of Black Renaissance before, where you have the Jason's Lyrics, the Boys in the Hoods, the Menace to Society, all those things come out around the same time, and we're looked at more as a commodity, just like hip hop was kind of like a novelty in the beginning, right? But I think what we're seeing now is the ownership quality of it, of us being able to own these stories, and three producers coming together like Charles King, Ryan Coogler, and Sasha Shaka, and they're able to produce a film, that's one of our stories centered around us, and actually get the benefit and employ more of us. Ava's doing the same thing, Issa's doing the same thing, and I think that adds to the sustainability, where it's not this fly by night thing that the industry can just be like, all right, well, this is what's popping right now. It's about us being able to do what Victor and I are doing now, which is work together, to support one another and make this sustainable for the long term. So that would be my next thing. The stories are going to be the stories. We've always had stories. Like that's just our culture and our ancestry.
Right. Victor, do you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, everything good?
Yep.
It's a hard question, because I feel it's always hard for me to see the trends or see things, because I think after things like Get Out, I think there was tons of elevated social horrors that tried to come out with Black people, you know what I'm saying? Them, you know what I'm saying? I think there's a thing that Hollywood is this is working, so let's do this, right? So it's difficult for me to know. I do feel what I would I think, to see is continually just elevated Black stories, but with just emphasis on story. And sometimes for me, this sounds crazy to say, maybe I'm super pro-Black, but I also feel I want to be able to watch movies and films where it's I can sense the message, and that sort of tends to throw me off. Where I can tell, this is going to be about police brutality. This is going to be this is going to be an essay, an intellectual essay, on some level about police brutality. And that's hard for me to sometimes watch. And I want us to do that, but tell through story and through entertainment, maybe humor. I'd rather see the story. I don't want to read the article, the Huffington Post op-ed article about critical race theory. I just want you to tell me a story about some child or some man who's having a hard time feeding his kids because he keeps losing his job. You know what I'm saying? And somehow maybe make that a comedy. A comedy about a Black man who keeps losing his job, he can't feed his family, and he's about to lose his kids. Something like that, which makes me see all the oppressive forces underneath that are just affecting him, without it being a punch in my face. That I tend to feel we lose the craft and the art and the storytelling skills.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Not there's not a place for that, but I tend to feel those people who can put out a movie and it is an intellectual movie and it's still really good. I think those are just rare. Those are just rare things which I've seen. Typically, I see things like Moonlight, which I don't know if he was trying to tell me about. I'm not sure if he was trying to give me a intellectual essay about what it means to be a Black gay man in Florida. All I did was I felt the kid's pain and I felt him suffering, and I felt fuck, that must be really fucking hard to be a Black gay kid in Florida. And I felt it, and I felt that. And that's what I want. That's what I want to be able to experience from my stuff. If I can continue to make movies, which I will. And from other people, just be able to feel and connect to Black people of color suffering pain, and our joys and our triumphs and our humor and our laughter. And I just want to feel it viscerally. But I don't think I want to be told it, though.
Not lectured.
I don't want to be told it. It doesn't do anything. If that's the case, I'll go listen to T.D. Jakes, which, you know what I'm saying? I'll go listen to Steve Harvey. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll go listen to Cornel West. You know what I'm saying? I'll go listen to them. They have a better understanding intellectually about these things than filmmakers do, to be honest with you. So just make me feel it. And I think that way people are transformed. You know what I'm saying? People remember how you make them feel. Isn't that what Maya Angelou said? People remember not what you said, but how you made them feel. And that's true of all kids I worked with. They don't remember the thing I said. They think, oh, Vic is like my dad. That's what they remember. Vic was like my dad. Vic was like my big bro. They don't remember the shit I told them. They remember that Vic loved me.
Right.
And that to me is more transformative than the little lecture I gave them about staying out the streets.
Gotcha. Talk to me about this term, traumedy.
Yeah, it's just like this. It's just like this combination of like trauma and comedy. Like I wanted to. It's like my way of trying to explain like a dark comedy, but I wanted to make sure people understood like but we are dealing with trauma. You know what I'm saying, and not just something slight. You know, like the white people call it dramedy. You know, I people call it. So I was just looking for something that felt more. Deeper. I don't want to be like a dramedy because that feels like. I don't know, like like a white couple that's like struggling in their marriage and they're depressed or something like that. And I wanted to feel like, I wanted it to feel like some real shit that I think is funny, which for me, the traumatic things that I've been through are hilarious.
Got it.
Like the really dark things that you think people should not laugh at, I laugh at. like, and in a way which makes me feel more connected to the person who's telling me the story. You know what I'm saying? I used to work with this girl. One of my clients was a CSEC kid, which is commercially sexually exploited children. And so she was like 14, 15 years old on the street, you know what I'm saying? Sex worker, right? And she had to see me like as a mandated thing. But let me tell you, my funniest sessions were with this girl. I promise you that the stuff that she would talk about, she'd be all up and down the room, like, Vic, and this happened, and da-da-da. I was just there like laughing in my seat. It was just, how does this girl like have all this humorous anecdotes about some really dark shit about her being on the street?
Right.
Some really fucking funny anecdotes.
Talent to be able to see things full scope. Duran,
I think that's how we think. But Lauren, I think that's how we I think that most of us engage with the dark things in our lives with sort of humorous lens after the fact.
I do want to address that because I have a thought about that around particularly Black Twitter. But I know that your wonderful producer has to get ready to jump. So I just wanted to make sure, Duran, is there anything else that you want to add, either about being, at Sundance for the first time, or what it's like to work with Victor, who I'm sure is always keeping you laughing.
He keeps me on my toes for sure. For sure. I think this is not the last time that we'll be, at Sundance in this capacity. And I think 100%. We got to honor ourselves and honor the process and, continue to work hard, and believe in what it is that we're creating and the importance of it. We actually have to skate to the festival opening. This is definitely not the last time.
What's the biggest tip that you want to tell other new producers? Biggest tip for them now that you've been through it first time?
I said this earlier today, but I think it's get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's always going to be some things that are going to arise, but the most important thing is that you're trying. You have to give it a valiant, not only effort, but a passionate effort. And don't attach to something just because you see financial gain in it. Like, actually have some stake in the story that you're telling. Right. Because if you don't, there are people like me who want stories told and you're taking opportunities away from them, just because you're trying to grab for money. So I would say be passionate about what you want to talk about.
Great point. Duran, thank you so much. I hope the festival is great for you. And Victor, just to go back quickly, I definitely agree with you on that. And I think it is something that sometimes is unique to, I'm not going to say all people of color, but a lot of them. If you look at something, when you have some crazy thing happen in the world and you go to Black Twitter in particular, you will see that humorous kind of side of something that is absolutely horrible that happened. And it's able to be like kind of whipped around. It's very unique. Very unique to particular demographic, and so hopefully that is used as a strength. But congrats to both of you, and I'm so glad that we had the chance to talk.
Thank you, Lauren.
So much continued success, and I hope the film is so well received. Really, congratulations, especially first time out. Absolutely. All right, you guys, I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I am Lauren deLisa Coleman for Film.io. This is the Inside series. Thanks for watching.